Good afternoon and welcome to Northern Italy for the second half of this mini-series within the pool stages, the rendezvous post-Ravenhill. The question is, I guess, how much has that relatively easy victory for Ulster changed and charged the psyche for both teams this afternoon? Aironi, well, they always seem to have one big game waiting to jump out, as Biarritz will testify. Ulster, much as they will want to take this game step by step, know that a bonus point win is necessity if they want to give themselves a chance of at least replicating last season's participation in those knockout stages. Let's take a look at the teams, and really it's quite a different team for the home side. half a dozen different faces from last weekend, I beg your pardon, and significantly Andrea Massi back into that back line. Luciano Oquera, he's going to be at 10, fed once again by Tyson Keats, and Trevisan back in at full back. Up front, well, the pack remains much the same, apart from the absence of Carlo Del Fava, the former Ulster favourite, twanged a groin during training, so Helden Hayes was the pick of that man there, Roland Phillips, to replace him. By contrast, well, it's been a thing of consistency for the Ulster side. They have the same 23 as last week. Their one change sees Tom Court rotated back in at loose head to form a powerful front row unit, and it is a front row that will get a severe testing today, with the likes of Salvatore Perugini, Ongaro and Lorenzo Romano facing them. David Humphreys knows that his team have to be steady, have to execute and have to bide their time. They really need to make sure that they do go step by step. The benches, well, there's some experience there for the Ulster side, but not really for their opposition. Tommaso Dapice, of course, try scorer last week, waiting in Aironi's colours. Robbie Dyack and Paul Marshall, Paddy Jackson, and of course Stefan Tablanche. Great experience to make an impact when they come off the bench. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Matt Perry. Matt, in a situation like this, in this particular round 3, round 4 of this competition, it has a different psyche, doesn't it, when you're playing back-to-back matches?
Yeah, good afternoon, Wardy, and welcome all. I think you're exactly right there. I mean, Ulster today, you know, they're a tidy outfit. They work extremely well as a team. They've got influential half-backs, as we saw at Ravenshill last week, and they've got a very strong back row. Good on the floor, the technicalities of the game in defence, and excellent in attack. You know, they'll be looking Ulster to get the bonus point here today. Let's remember, they have won the European Cup, and they're in a strong position after last week going into this game. Aironi, on the other hand, you know, they've been competitive, they've got a lot of spirit. Apart from Clermont in this tournament so far, they've really shown it. They've got some tidy backs in Massi and Trevisan, and Ongaro and Bortolami up front. They're real old dogs.
I'm sure they will love being called old dogs, but not ready to be put down yet. We have to add quickly on the end of that as Ulster trot out into what is a beautiful winter's day. It really is absolutely delightful.
It was said in a very positive light. It's good to be an old dog, isn't it, Wardy? I think they probably
need a few in this Aironi lineup just to make sure that they keep their focus, and that's what it is to get that experience into the Aironi lineup. Now they've got to make sure that they are singing from the same song sheet for this game. And as we see the Aironi team led out by Marco Bortolami, and it is Bortolami's experience that has been asked to lead his troops and get them settled into this game. Of course, it's in different surroundings here at the Stadio Briantio. It's Aironi trying to take rugby to a different area of Lombardy, and they really need to produce a performance that's going to get fans coming back. The Leicester game, they sort of did for half of it, but for the other half they will have been disappointed.
Yeah, it's a great place, isn't it, Monza? What an absolutely beautiful day for a Heineken Cup game. You know, it's all set, really. I think for Aironi, their main challenge in this tournament so far has been their pack. You know, to get far in this tournament, you have to have a massive pack which gets go forward in the set piece and also the phase play. And a little bit so far, their physicality hasn't been there. But it's all set for a fantastic match.
Well, this pool 4, one of the most difficult to ascertain, really, the final order. But a good possibility that it might provide a runner-up for the quarterfinals. There's our referee this afternoon, Greg Garner. Looking straight into this sun, and Ulster playing into the sun in this first half. Difficult to gauge whether there's any sense of breeze, really. I was standing on the pitch before with David Humphries, and we really couldn't work out which way the breeze was going. So inconsistency in terms of direction. But Ulster now looking to get themselves moving from the off in the right direction. Ian Humphries sets play underway. And immediately there's the break from Sinotti. Powerful Kiwi getting his team back up towards the halfway line. Keats out to Aquera. Cantona, an ever-willing workhorse in that Aironi back row. Favaro just not quite on the right line for Sol to put his back row colleague away.
Stay on your feet. Stay on your feet.
There's Perugini. Such a wonderful character, and he'll be very visible both in the loose and in the tight today. Scrappy play from Aironi, but they're keeping hold of the ball. There's the youngster, Eugene Trevisan, keeping it to his opposite number, Adam Darcy.
Stand still, lads. Stand still, three.
Well, play continues, getting through the phases without really making any territorial advance. Keeps up quickly, good follow-up chase from the Aironi half-backs. But it's going to be Ulster who get the first penalty.
Good start by Aironi, though. They show a positive intent to play rugby, and they've done that so far in this tournament. They're really looking to play at pace. May not have the physicality, but Sinotti just taking that step and getting them on the front foot. Good start.
Down your feet.
Sinotti, the cousin of Jerry Collins, and bears that same powerful trademark style as his back row relative. Certainly they won't want to be allowing him any space out wide. There's another powerful operator on this near side wing. That's Vonditi. He's 17.5 stone, packed in to what is the number 11 shirt. So Aironi going with slightly different numbering. The right wing wearing 11, the left wing 14. Now it's the man wearing 2 for Ulster. Of course, Rory Best has been in some stunning form since he's got back from New Zealand. Had a very good World Cup to boot. The overthrow. Down to Favaro. Hungaro can't hold on to it. Ian Humphries.
Take him back. Take him back.
Well, both teams just not being able to settle with ball in hand as yet.
No, it's a lovely day, Wardy, isn't it? It's such a fantastic day. The sun is out. We're in Italy, European Cup. Irish province versus a new franchise of...
There's the break. It's come from John Afoa, sets the ball back, and this is the first real chance for Ulster to attack. Pienaar out to Humphries, throws it wide. The bouncing ball picked up by Darcy, offloads it. Cuts back inside, and it's Andrew Trimble. Now, as he bounced it, hang on here, Andrew Trimble has got himself over the line, but did he bounce that ball down? And by the look of Andrew Trimble, I suspect he has.
Does he look injured more than dropping the ball? I'm not sure, but he was definitely in. It was great play. A bouncing ball in rugby is not an easy thing to defend, and as we see here, ball bounces, Darcy offloads to Trimble. Great physicality.
Well, this is an open goal missed if this is not given. The question from Greg Garner to Trevor Fisher in the trucks is it a try, yes or no? And there is Mr. Fisher.
Okay, lost control, so scrum.
Lost control,
okay.
Missed opportunity. And Andrew Trimble will not want to see this again.
Yeah, he comes in, takes it up, great body strength, but again, oh, that could be the difference between a bonus point. You know, Leicester, they came here, didn't get the bonus point. really important for Ulster to take everything today, and that's a big miss from Trimble.
Trimble went for a long time in the Irish shirt without being able to dot the ball down. He ended that unfortunate phase out in New Zealand. He will not want to see that again, and he will be desperate to rectify that situation as soon as possible. Already got a couple of tries this season, Trimble, but that should have been third.
Yeah, as we see here again, great strength, but it's really important in rugby to put the ball down, and I think, I mean, to be fair, I've done that before, but I got away with it.
Didn't have as many TV cameras around you, is what you're saying.
That's exactly it.
Now, this will be a fascinating area to see how the balance of the match is going to sway. It is one of the areas that Aironi certainly think they can get potentially some dominance.
Crouch. Touch. Pull. Engage.
Solid start from the Ulster pack. Pienaar at the Humphreys. Trimble comes round, and this time, well, he's juggled with it. A touch of the P.T. Barnums from Andrew Trimble. They're going to have to check it upstairs. The big question is, has he rectified it?
I think he did. I think on the double juggle, he got it. Good thing after a mistake, gets straight back in the game. Oh, it looked like hot potato. No, oof. Oh, was that a try?
You're not sure, are you? Let's see whether Mr. Fisher is sure. Judging by Andrew Trimble's body language now, he thinks he has. Let's see what Mr. Fisher makes of it. Take another look here. Good hand off, but then losing the ball, and it's not downward pressure, it's being in control of the ball.
Yep. Okay, now we'll try, thank you.
And the try is given, and Andrew Trimble's blushes are saved, and Ulster are on the board.
Yeah, good try. Again, good play from the Ulster back line. Get Trimble involved. He's such a physical presence, but it did look as though he just lost it again there. But no, well played, Ulster.
Well, Ian Humphreys adding a very easy 2 points, and that's just the start that Ulster wanted. As convincing as that win was last week at Ravenhill, this is a new 80 minutes, and the psychological damage inflicted by that try will certainly serve Ulster well now as they look to get themselves away from the 22.
Arrive up, Ulster!
We talk about going through the numbers in rugby, and it really is a case of just building up the momentum now. The box kick to clear the pressure. Trinity unable to take it cleanly. The ball ending up in the hands of Okwero, who just kicks it downtown. Good work from Henry, good footballing skills. Darcy. Ulster keen to get some width on the ball early on, which bodes well for the Irish province. Evan Spence stepping in at first receiver. There's Stephen Ferris. What a month he's had. 2 Man of the Match awards in the last 2 games. Of course, a third in that game, the opener against Clermont. Darcy trying to cut the line. Up to halfway. Best knocked back by Favaro, so Pienaar opts for the probing box kick, but it's left Trevisan with plenty of time to come back at that white line. Is it a turnover ball? I think it is. Ulster manipulating that ball back, and now they can look to get another attack going from just inside their own half. They've got an unfamiliar face in at fly half. That's John Afoa. There he is. Now they spin it out. Darcy out to Humphreys. This is where Humphreys could be so lethal. Finds Craig Gilroy. Pinar trying to work some forwards down this near side channel. Now they open it up. Stephen Ferris off, gets the ball off. Ulster almost looked like they'd got their engine really working again. As soon as they got into the 22, it looked like it was going to be clinical work. This time, though, the ball just edging forward from that man, Johan Muller.
Yeah, pretty good play here. We see Ferris, such an international footballer. The offload there to Muller, and again, just good play. You can see Ulster starting to get into their game. Aironi, if they lay off tackles like they're doing in the first 10 minutes of this game, they're going to struggle. But great play. Ulster just getting their pattern. They're trying to bring runners through the middle of the pitch and then offload the ball.
We saw the danger of Stephen Ferris at Ravenhill last week with that second try, you'll remember. 40-metre run, including the fend-off and the sidestep. He's got such a box of tricks and such a powerful man.
Touch. Pause. Engage.
Another good scrum from the Ulster pack, destroying any platform for Aironi to work that ball away. Eugenie, the man in to get the next pod moving forward, but Ulster just holding their line inside the 22. They're forced to kick away. They get the line out put in. They'll be happy with their lot thus far. First 10 minutes gone.
Yeah, I think so. Pretty dominant, aren't they? We saw that set piece there. I mean, you know, sides like Ulster have such a good set piece, and then when you got a back row, you know, with the likes of Ferris, Henry, and Vandenberg, just moving and adapting and getting into the space like they can, you know, it could be a long afternoon for Aironi, but
well, they'll know that there's danger in the line-out. That man, Quinton Heldenhuis, also Josh Soul there. Bortolami stole a couple of balls last week. Ulster line-out, providing the possession, if not quite the go forward that they were looking for. Dan Tui picking up the pieces, and now it's Afoa again. Humphreys looking inside, finding Dan Cave. Cave sets the ball back well. The forwards keen to get their hands on the ball, but Henry's hands just letting him down. And Aironi scavenged the ball away, hacking it clear out of their own half.
Ball's there.
Again, Pinar looking to put ball to boot to get better position, but only happy to run it back. Sonotti not able to find a clean pass. So Josh Soul has to restart the Aironi engine. Those forwards willing and waiting, led by Heldenhuis. South African Italian international gets the ball back for Okwera. Londondy coming in on the crash ball. There's Romano.
Hands away, 7.
A big young slab of a tight head. Okwera trying to test Ulster facing this sun. Looks like it might have worked there. Oh, there was a knock forward from an Aironi hand, but with this low sun looking straight into Ulster eyes, that's sure to be a tactic that Aironi will look to employ through the majority of this first half, you suspect?
yeah, Aironi need to mix it up, I think. To have any chance in this game, they've got to get away from the set piece where Ulster will be dominant. They need to play a fast and loose game, get themselves with the hands on the ball to really have a chance. And I think, you know, Okwera at 10, he'll look to mix it up. High kicks. In defence, I'll have to fly at Ulster and really challenge them in that area, because so far, first 10 minutes, if Ulster have loads of possession, you know, they can really print their name on this game.
Aironi just with the one win so far this season against Edinburgh at the end of September. And really, in terms of stats, well, the worst defence and the worst attack in this competition after 3 rounds. Just the one try, which Dapice, of course, scored at Ravenhill last week, conceding 16 thus far in the 3 games. It has been an issue. I was talking to Gruff Rees, the skills coach, on secondment from the Ospreys here in Aironi, and he said mentally they are not strong at the moment. They've got to build that belief to know that they can do it. They're in a very different position to Treviso. You mentioned earlier, Matt, you know, it is a young team. There's Mauro Bergamasco, the latest addition to their ranks, and somebody like him is going to bring an awful lot of experience and belief into this side, which is only 18 months old.
No, exactly. I mean, it's not an easy place to be when you're bottom of both leagues, the European Cup and the Rabo Direct. And I think they're building a culture here. So they need to keep their spirit up, keep competitive. And, you know, let's think about the win they had against Biarritz last year. And they'll use that to really drive them forward.
Debut of Trevisan takes Aironi away from their own 22. There was a football match played on here yesterday afternoon. AC Monza Brianza 1912 played a game, so the pitch is not in its best nick, it has to be said, and walking on it before the match, it's quite soft underfoot, and it looks like it could well cut up if we get repeated scrummages in any particular area.
Yeah, I did see you digging your heel into the ground there, Wardy, just testing the track, as they say.
I didn't have my studs on though. I was allowed by the groundsman. Ian Humphreys out to Ferris, appearing in midfield, a little offload. Finds Trimble off his wing. Good work from Trimble, and there's Ferris again. You know, a loop pass finds his skipper. Farah just gets, well, more of a hug from Bortolami. It's been deemed a high tackle by Greg Garner.
Time off. Okay, 5, please.
Bortolami knew what he'd done. Just checking to see that Afoa is okay.
Again, one tactic that Ulster use is the inside pass. You know, you'll see Humphreys, you'll see Spence, and you'll see Cave really taking a step out and then trying to bring the runners back in, allowing their back row and their big second row forwards to really come through and dominate. And literally, they run very good lines.
Now, Ian Humphreys is going to take his first penalty. Again, talking to brother David this morning, we both agree that the stats, which don't do Ian Humphreys any favours in terms of, well, if you look at what he's been kicking in the Heineken Cup, 67% 2 from 3, 58% in the Celtic League. It doesn't really show the difficulty that sometimes he's kicking in. We all know what Ravenhill's like on a Friday night, and quite often they will go for these long-range punts to see whether they can garner anything from the tee. That has got a lot of distance on it, and it's got the direction. So that's a really good start from Ian Humphreys, and that will do his kicking confidence a whole load of good.
Yeah, definitely. Very much like, I'm sure, extreme fishing, not easy. Humphreys, extreme kicking. You say at Ravenshill, horrible place to play. Lovely ground, but not an easy place to win. You'd have to say one of the pitches in the European Cup where teams don't like to go.
Certainly has the word fortress written into the address. Could have now gone then, and Ulster with 10 points already on the board. Now in defensive mode as Keats sends it huge out to Andrea Massi, back in the Aironi ranks for the first time since the last time they played here against Leicester. They're going to get the advantage of the penalty. Well, Keats wants to kick and go. Referee not going to allow it. I think it was Henry and Andrew Trimble on that far side being called for stepping up too quickly. Now Quera with his hands on the ball, just checking with his captain what he wants, and Bortolami pointing to the posts.
Interesting to see Keats there, trying to keep the pace of the game up. Again, when you're slightly down on yourself, you know, because of the results and maybe not because of the situation, that ability to just keep playing, keep changing up, keep mixing the tempo, and actually if you can play quicker than your opposite team, then it's a good thing.
It's also not easy, the situation that Italian sides find them in that numbers 9, 10 and 15 have to, by agreement with the Italian Federation, two of them have to be Italian qualified. That means that the team selection mix is not just on form necessarily. It has to make sure that they have the right personnel within that 9, 10, 15, those 9, 10, 15 shirts. And of course, Nas Olivier has been playing a lot through the course of the Celtic League, but now giving way to Luciano Oquera. And Oquera now has to make sure that his sure-footed attitude is going to get his team on the board. That's job done, and that's the duck broken for Aironi.
Yeah, great kick there. Oquera, lovely strike of the ball. And for them to get points on the board after 18 minutes will give them hope.
Tito Vivaldi, of course, started in the fly-half shirt last week. He's on the bench this afternoon in his more traditional role, we assume, as cover for scrum half. Nas Olivier is sitting alongside him. And there's Tyson Keats, the man who's starting at 9. Trimble coming off, taking responsibility. Now looking to straighten things up. In fact, that's Adam Darcy. Darcy feeding on to Pienaar, trying to get the offload in, and the ball just ending up in the hands of Trevisan. A wonderful arcing run from the Australian fullback to get Ulster into good position. The pass just not going to hand, and there is indeed Trimble clearing his lines. Aironi looking to keep the pace up in the game. Oquera sends it back from whence it came. Ian Humphreys scans the scene, tries to put the ball in behind Vendity. Oh, there was a partial charge down. It was always going to happen. You could see Vendity took too long. And suddenly the Ulster backs were up in his face, and it was Darren Cave who actually got his fingertips to the ball.
Yeah, good piece of play though. Darcy really, ran the ball back with great determination, showed the pace, looking for the space as well. Got it inside to Pienaar, and I think, again, for the game to be mixed up, we'll probably play more into Aironi's hands.
Oquera looking for that inside pass. Holden Hayes leading the charge away from their 22. Pizarro from his midfield colleague, Andre Massey, back from his French sojourn, of course, with Racing Metro latterly, and of course with Biarritz before that. Bortolami just biding his time before he charges fly off what he wants. Oquera doesn't have the biggest of boots, it has to be said, and from the middle of the park, distance a bit of an issue. That's why he's gone for that conservative kick, which has only just crept over halfway.
If you think about the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game, Aironi have really had some possession, but the only way they've had possession is because the game has been quite loose. When it's structured, which it was in the first 10 minutes of the game, Ulster really dominated. Whereas the last 10 minutes, been quite loose, and Aironi have capitalised.
Ngaro's throwing not hitting the mark. Of course, as many of the participants this afternoon that were up against each other in the Rugby World Cup out in that match in Dunedin. You've got the likes of Best and Ferris on Irish side, Perugini, Holden Hayes, Oquera and Massey for the Italians. And then with a fair few on the bench, this is Trimble and Court and Ngaro Bortolami. They all took part in that match in Pool C. Binding of Romano, being penalised by Greg Garner. From Italy under 20 prop. They've got high hopes for in these parts. Humphries settling into his game, both off the tee and in the open. Can be, as we know, such a wonderfully destructive open phase runner. Line out from Ulster, and they drive into the 22. Picking up momentum. This is a great rolling ball from the Irish side, and it's a penalty try. Greg Garner said they wouldn't have been stopped unless it was illegal. And there's one for the Ulster forwards as they see the referee underneath the post with his arm in the air.
Excellent piece of teamwork from the Ulster pack. Great to see. Just shows that rugby is not all about fast, running backs. It's about the team units, and you couldn't get a better identification of a pack bringing it down from the line out and then working as one 20 metres upfield. And we see Aironi here bring it down, which is a natural decision for the ref to make. Penalty try, but great play to see the speed at which the ball was kept to the back, and each player was really driving through.
Well, the variety being shown in this Ulster attack bodes well. Plenty of Ulster Santas witnessing it here this afternoon, and they will have big smiles on their face when they look at that scoreline. Second successful conversion from Humphries, his third successful kick. Graham McLaughlin actually not out here with the team this weekend. He's got family issues which have kept him at home. So the likes of David Humphries, Neil Doak and Johnny Bell organising things from the touchline, but all of the Ulster management, I suspect, will be quite happy with what they're seeing thus far. Pienaar gets great height on that box kick. Gilroy up in the face of Josh Soul. Keats looking at his option, decides with the traditional flip to the fly half. Pizarro sets the ball back again. Sinotti coming off the wing, looking for work. Trevisan trying to steal it through. Pienaar just not getting his sat-nav worked out as to where Darcy was coming round, and I think that does well to rescue it, but he didn't want to kick it straight at Sinotti, that's for sure. There's plenty of power packed into that 5'8" frame. Fellow Kiwi Tyson Keats comes round to get the ball back. O'Quera gets the next phase going. And this is where Aironi begin to build the momentum and also build the confidence as well. Ulster holding that white line firm outside the 22. That's what the coaches call the red zone, and that's a key area. Forces the drop goal attempt from O'Quera, and he's not going to get anywhere near the posts, and allows Ulster to hammer the ball away in the shape of Ruan Pienaar, and that's a good job done by the Ulster defence.
Yeah, good defence from Ulster. But a bit of a desperate attempt here from O'Quera. Good build-up from Sinotti, looking to offload the ball. Keats out into the middle, and I think if Aironi can get to 7-8 phases, but then do something different, get their real key runners into the game to mix it up. Because it just looked a little bit there, they kind of fizzled out, and with Ulster in their defence and the way they came at them in the phase play.
Pass from Keats again, bounces. Thankfully, Favaro is ready to pick up the loose ball, and O'Quera has his kick charged down by Afoa. Good work from the Ulster tight head. Came in, of course, to replace BJ Bota. Maybe doesn't have quite the scrummaging presence, but has so much about the part. And for any tight head who's willing to wear yellow boots, a confident man.
Well, that's the nature of the game these days, Wardy, isn't it? You know, if you've got fast twitch and you're a prop, wear yellow boots, why not?
Certainly the front row union doesn't seem to worry about such things anymore. And when you've got operators the likes of John Afoa, you can see why. the circles with that Rugby World Cup medal in his 5th game. Coming up to the half-hour mark, and Ulster in charge on the scoreboard, but there'll be a note of caution because I remember when Leicester came here in a similar scenario, 2 early tries, were leading 20 points to 3 and suddenly stalled, and particularly at the beginning of that second half. So Ulster keen to keep this momentum.
Yeah, they did. Leicester definitely stalled. They played really well for 20 minutes and then switched off for the middle 40. And Aironi really came back and fought hard to the end to allow Leicester to not get that bonus point.
Pienaar offloads to Trimble. How's the bounce of the ball going to work? It's worked for Ulster. They've got huge numbers over to this near side. Ball being shifted on. Roy Best biding his time. Evan Spence filling the number 12 shirt now with, of course, Paddy Wallace out with that a gruesome finger injury. I'm told that Wallace should be back in the early part of the new year. Evan Spence doing a good job in the somewhat unfamiliar role of inside centre. Really Best straighten things up again. And Gilroy managing to avoid the thrust of Pizarro and getting the ball back for his team. How many times have we seen Rory Best with his hands on the ball? Humphreys again looking for that inside channel.
Again in the way. Come on, Dutty.
Pienaar waiting for the whistle. It's not going to come. So the forwards will take it on once again. Dan Tui, an ever-present for Ulster this season. Humphreys comes round on the wrapper outside Henry. Ball just being blocked as it was aiming to get into the hands of Darcy and Trimble on that far side. But good flowing rugby from Ulster, just not quite the incision that they were looking for.
Yeah, just an execution mistake there. Probably looking to pass the ball before the ball was in his hands. But again, good play from Ulster, as we see. It was Darcy just knocking it forward. Just probably it needed to be a little bit deeper to allow to hit onto the ball and then put his mate into space. But I think Ulster just showing a composure. Why they play as one team is they get the likes of Best, Ferris into the game in phase play. They bring the ball back in, get Trimble, Darcy, and they really do probe all over the pitch, looking for that space.
It is, of course, consistency that they've been looking for. Made a great start to the season with the first 3 wins, but then went on a trot of 4 games when they just couldn't get themselves into winning position. Then a couple of wins, including that win against Clermont, and a couple of losses, and now they're looking to build up some sort of form guide to take them through the turn of the year.
We'd have to say they're in a good position, aren't they? You know, themselves and Clermont at the top. You know, the win over Clermont, albeit at Ravenshill. There's some big games in this pool still to go.
Oh, massive games. I mean, when you look at the table and you see there's only 2 points between Clermont, Ulster and Leicester, I mean, you're right, we don't know what's going on at Welford Road this afternoon, and that will be a critical factor to take into round 5 and round 6. But Ulster need to make sure they are in a dominant position. They know that they are going to have Leicester travelling to Ravenhill. They know they've got to travel to Clermont, so they know what the equation's about.
And it's much, you know, it's much more of a preference to have it in your control than certainly out of it.
Well, right now, this match would seem to be in their control with the half-hour mark just ticking past. 2 scores ahead. I mentioned the new additions to the Aironi lineup, and Mauro Bergamasco would have been playing in this game, except his clearance from the French Federation didn't come through until Wednesday. The deadline was Tuesday, so it means that he now cannot make his debut until next week, and Aironi are up against Treviso. There's Muller, what a difference he's made to this Ulster side. made a great difference to the Sharks when he took over from John Smith. Took them to their first Currie Cup in 12 years, took them to the semi-finals of the Super 14. And indeed, he's really, well, certainly sorted out this Ulster line out and had a great impact on the Ulster team as they break away now. Where's the support? Tafoa setting the ball back. Now the numbers stretch out to the left-hand side. Tom Court out to Ian Humphreys. Well, Spence and Cave just not quite sorting out their alignment. They're going to go back for the penalty. But Ferris again making the break. The back row beast is so difficult to put down.
Yeah, he gets into the space so well, doesn't he? He really identifies it. The space isn't necessarily on the outside, it's in between a player. And if you have the power to get through it and then offload, really go forward, makes a big difference to your team. And I think Ulster there used the short side to real good effect. Brought it down and then identified good hands.
Well, the more pragmatic approach from Johan Muller means that Ian Humphreys is going to take what should be a relatively simple pot shot, certainly for the left-footed kicker.
You always know that a penalty is likely when you've got lazy runners who are running back to the ball. You've got the ball in your hands and you're facing someone who's actually got their back to you. You know that you've had a good incisive line break.
Kicking radar right on the mark this afternoon for Ian Humphreys, and that takes Ulster up to the 20-point mark with 7 minutes still to go of this first half. See the breeze there attracting the flags, but it is a very difficult breeze to really calculate your kicks. So Ian Humphreys will be more than happy with 4 from 4 thus far. 2 he can't take cleanly. Rory Best cannot pick up the scraps, but it's going to be an Ulster put into the line out.
So we see here, again, outstanding break from Ferris. Just everything he does is about go forward. And in rugby, the simplicity of building momentum from individuals like the likes of Ferris is why it's, you know, the game can be simple.
Well, you can see why in the World Cup the only game he missed was that Russia game. He's so intrinsic to an attack pattern for any team, because he has the strength, he has the power, and he has the pace to be able to do so many different things and attract defenders, of course. You know, the opposition know all about him, so he's going to make space wider out.
And the difference is he also offloads as well. So if you're a good support runner and you're changing your angle of run to his, it can really just, you know, it can be a try from a simple phase like that.
Keats finds Josh Soul coming around the corner. Slight disagreement going on this side between Perugini and Dan Tui. Play continues on the far side of the pitch. Aquera, Pizarro, Massey again trying to straighten it up. He really is a class act, Andrea Massey, and another man whom any team can build an attack round. The pass from Sinotti not working. Scrappy ball, forcing Aironi back into their own 22. Just as it looked like they were going to build up a head of steam on that far side. Poor pass, not finding its target, and Aironi have to go again. And give away the penalty, and well, there's 3 points on offer for good defence. Good game management, should I say.
Yeah, I think so, and probably be a good time just to look at the two Italian sides in this European Cup, Treviso and Aironi. And I know Aironi have only been going 18 months, but the difference is that Treviso keep the ball so well. And they're the likes of Burton and these players, they know how to keep possession, whereas Aironi, their execution in certain areas is just not up to the scratch. And that's why teams like Ulster can really dominate in defence and attack.
There was a slight altercation between Tui and Perugini. But here's a different approach from Muller, asking for the attacking line out. Now, can Ulster make something of this? 3.5 minutes left of this first half. Doesn't quite go to plan from the training paddock, but it does give the forwards once again the chance to charge in their opposite numbers. A power play from the Ulster pack. Is it going to provide points before the break? The select few Ulster fans here present in Monza trying to make themselves heard. A quicker ball. As he turned turtle, I think it's Tom Court who thinks he's got it. Referee's going to check, but Tom Court, having been turned turtle as he went over the line, thinks he's dotted it down. Trevor Fisher is going to have to confirm it.
He's had a busy afternoon so far, hasn't he, Trevor Fisher? But I think this was a try. We'll see here. He goes over on his back, but the ball was down, literally before.
Well, it's been a good week for Tom Court. He's just signed a new 2-year deal with the Irish Rugby Union and Ulster. It looks like he's going to celebrate it with a personal 5 points, and there's the confirmation. Well, Johan Muller's option to take the attacking line out, showing the belief he's got in his pack, in his forwards, and it's paid dividends just before the break. Great psychological plus for the visitors.
Yeah, that's been a real key thing to the Ulster game, their pack in the set piece, line out especially. We saw it from that 25-metre rolling maul, and we saw it there again. You know, they're very good at getting into the space in the tight, and just doing what they need to do, sort of 5-10 metres from the line.
Well, Ian Humphreys doing what he needs to do with another successful kick, and the scoreboard makes good reading for Ulster fans right now. Just less than a couple of minutes to go before the break, and 24 points the difference. That is clinical execution from the visitors this afternoon, making the most of every visit to the opposition 22. And there's a man who's been a key part of nearly every attack, Stephen Ferris, setting the ball back. Ian Humphreys with good shape on that kick and great distance, forcing Seoul back into his own 22. Travis Sand looked like he'd stepped out there. Officials on this near side say fair enough, and it's going to be an Ulster line out to finish the half. Less than a minute, says the referee. Overthrown by Best, doesn't hit his target, and suddenly it's Favaro leading the charge towards halfway. Favaro and Massey getting closer together to find the thrust, but the ball is loose. And Vandenberg it is, picks up the loose ball. Oh, suddenly the break was there. Ferris could see glory at the end of what would have been a 45-metre run.
Ferris's pace over 5 metres is incredible. It really is. His body position and the way he gets out of the blocks just makes him the difference of a player from an ordinary player to that player with real pace and power, and then the ability to offload.
Well, there goes the referee's whistle to finish things, and it's a half that Ulster will look back on with the majority of satisfaction. Andrew Trimble's disappointment and embarrassment was soon rectified a couple of minutes later when he did in fact get the first try. The penalty try followed not long after, and Tom Court has added try number 3. Mauro Bergamasco not sure what his new team are going to do in the second half, because as they go into the changing rooms at the break, they look at a scoreline that reads Aironi 3, Ulster 27. Well, welcome back to Stadio Briantio. The sun continues to shine on Monza, and it's certainly shining on Ulster after that first 40, which yielded 3 very important tries and has put them in command of this match at 27-3 up. They're used to scoring tries against Aironi, it has to be said. 6 tries in last season's Heineken Cup game in Italy. 43-6, of course, that score 3 tries already this season in the league. That 25-19 win at Stadio Zaffanella, and then of course the 5 tries last week. The next try that they're going to score could be one of the most important tries they're going to score in the Heineken Cup this season, and that's what Johan Moller knows that his team have to focus on to get their game up and going again after the break. But it was a very impressive first 40. Matt Perry sitting alongside me. Ulster will be fairly happy with what they've done thus far. It's now about continuity.
Yeah, I think so. I think they had a very good first half. They were dominant up front in the set piece. And if you think about it, they were only in Aironi's 22 5 times, but they scored 3 tries. So it's a measure of a good team. And the pack is playing as a unit. And that'll give Aironi some worries, because they play a fast, loose game, and they're trying to mix it up and keep the pace of the game up. But at the moment, Ulster are doing it all right.
Marco Bortolami will be certain to have had some sharp words with his team, certainly with his forwards. That's normally where Italian sides have been able to set the platform, both from a club perspective and an international perspective. But in that first 40, Pedri Vandenberg and the rest of his forwards really were able to work off a very solid basis, and of course that penalty try, testament to the power that the pack provided. Now Aironi are going to be playing with the sun in their faces in this second half, and of course that sun has dipped a bit, and that is certain to be a tactical ploy that Ulster can make something of in this final 40. Chris Henry biding his time before he powers away from the side of that ruck. Henry now more accustomed to the 7 shirt than the 8 and 6 that he used to wear in Ulster's colours. Pena utilising that box kick once again. Well, trying to get Sinotti involved in that 13 channel, but no problems for the Ulster defence. Looks like Alberto Di Marchi, the Aironi front row forward, is brought on to play at half-time. Forward pass called from the touchline. That was Andrew Pearce on that far side.
Important time for Ulster, I think. There's 15 minutes after the break for them to execute well. We see here the forward pass. Vandenberg just lets it go loose, and I think for them to have a real chance, not only in this pool but as a contender of the European Cup, execution at crucial times. And I think, you know, next 15, if they can score a couple of tries and show that they're actually got the attitude to come here and do a comprehensive job, then that'll be a good statement.
And there's Di Marchi on instead of Perugini. Obviously had enough of facing John Afoa. Keats and Quera trying to work the gap for Bizarro. Good tackling from Spence. Di Marchi, the rebound wall for the scrum half, but Vonditi cannot escape the clutches of Ferris and then Best. Vonditi steps in at scrum half, and Aironi trying to get width on their attack, but just not able to quite synchronise the passes to get the maximum benefit of the movement, and having to do hard yards around the fringe to keep the momentum to the attack. Trevor Sand, 21-year-old, flying half side from Crociati, during the close season. Another young prospect that they're hoping will move up from the Italy under-20 side, which he frequented for the last couple of years. Certainly the Aironi forwards now eager to get themselves involved. And Massi bouncing into his own man, and Aironi shooting themselves in the foot once again.
Yeah, you can see that they're up for it, aren't they, Aironi? They want to play, but a lot of it at times looks frantic. And that's just a good example there, running into your own man, and they just look as though their skills at times are under constant pressure. And that's not through a lack of trying, it's just through a lack of understanding and physicality, you know, which is the two measures of these teams. Ulster, very physical, got players like Ferris, Vandenberg, you know, Muller, who can really take the ball into the space. For Aironi, they're almost like a snooker ball against a cushion, you know, always getting batted back.
Pienaar opens it up, and Cave just overcooks the kick. Well, Aaron Cave is going to have to make sure that his kicking game is a bit more accurate than that, because it will just allow Aironi to lodge themselves inside the Ulster half. Certainly in these opening exchanges, and what you say, Matt, is absolutely right. It's a matter of holding on whilst this early enthusiasm and adrenaline is eased off the Aironi side. We've seen it, we saw it with Leicester, and we've seen it with other sides as well. Treviso perhaps maturing a bit more now. Massi and Okwera combining well, but the Argentinian fly half being wrapped up, and the tackler getting the benefit of holding the ball up.
He was pretty quick there, wasn't he, the ref, on that? Not a nice place to be, I know, at the bottom of a ruck, but the ref very quick to give the scrum there to Ulster.
Substitutions ready for Aironi. Three of them waiting on the touchline as we see that last play. Nevin Spence at the bottom of that, not being able to place down. And back now. See, that's on Garo. Looks like it's more front row replacement, so Garo and Romano going off. We're in the three there. Looks like Haldenhuis has gone as well. So the likes of Dapice coming into the fray, Fabio Staibano. Ulster now looking to get their attack into some sort of operation for the first time in this second half. And this time, the kicking of Cave actually does move his team away from halfway.
I think that'll be crucial for Ulster this first period. If they get territory, they can put pressure on Aironi in the line-out. You'd expect them to really challenge this throw now.
It's George Biaggi who is setting up at the back of that line-out. Here's the other replacement, as Bortolami is brought down a little quicker than the referee would like by Muller.
Contact in the air.
Since Ulster beat Aironi back on September 10th, they've lost 5 on the road since. So the benefits of victory here, without talking about the bonus point, the victory here on the road will set themselves up for what is a very important month. These 2 games, obviously, but then Leinster away, Munster at home over the Christmas period could set the stall out for the rest of the season for Brian McLaughlin's side. Sanotti again coming off the wing. This time the handling does work, and it puts Trevisan into the outside channel. Well, Aironi just beginning to find some rhythm in their back play. And here we see it. Was there a slight hint of a shielding there from Pizarro? I'm not sure. Referee and the officials didn't think so.
Good play though from Sonotti, Massi, and Trevisan, who's a sprightly young player, 21-year-old. Really does. He's got good feet. You can see him being a real influence. I think he's just coming off the park, but
that's the blight of a Perry credit. Obviously, Trevisan leading the pitch to allow Cortaroli to come on into midfield, and Andrea Massi slotting back into what is now a familiar fullback role for him. Now the Italian forwards trying to bite back, not literally, against their opposite numbers. Now O'Hara letting his side down. Ferris up quickly. And Cortaroli getting ball and the sizable bulk of Stephen Ferris at one moment. Alberto Di Marchi struggles to set the ball back for his team. Look at the Italian forwards on that side of the pitch, trying to flood that short channel. Well, again, the Ulster defence holding firm and getting the benefit of their concentration and their discipline.
Yeah, there's no worry that the Aironi players are coming up the line. They really are challenging Ulster, but Ulster's so strong in defence. Their technique is excellent, and they're good on the floor as well there. They kept a couple of the Aironi players off their feet in this half already.
Well, there's Ulster subs ready and waiting. Paddy McAllister, of course, started last week. He's presumably coming on for Tom Court and Stefan Teblanche. Great experience from the South African back. Looks like Andrew Trimble is going to be called off. As that substitution takes place, and indeed it is Tom Court, allowing that man Paddy McAllister to step up. Court tries scorer in the first half. Put a good 50 minutes in for his team. As the sun disappears behind the cloud, now it's a matter of the final half an hour of this game and making sure from an Ulster perspective that they get over the try line at least once more.
Yeah, so much these days as well, Simon, in regards to players coming off, played 50 minutes, especially in the front row or the pack, you know, tough place to play. Coming off at 50 just gives you, enables you to recharge your batteries in what is going to be a hectic schedule. I mean, the whole season is very hectic now, loads of games. And coming off is not a measure of the fact you've had a bad game.
A little bit of confusion in Aironi ranks. Marco Bortolami having to leave the pitch, which presumably means Filippo Ferrarini is going to come on. Whether that's a blood injury, we'll just watch with interest. As Ferrarini, wearing 20, locks down, normally a back rower, but settling in as an auxiliary second row for now.
Crouch. Touch. Pause. Engage.
Slipping on this near side, but Pienaar gets his team underway once again. Cave outside his man, escapes the clutches of the tackler, gets the pass away. Teblanche forced back towards halfway. See the width now on these Ulster passes, trying to open up the wide channels. Rory Best has Gilroy outside him, but opts to cut back. There's the captain, Muller takes his team into the opposition 22. Good rhythm from Ulster, good handling. Now, concentration now as they approach the red zone. There's Paddy Jackson onto the park, getting his hands on the ball for the first time. Tui sends the ball back again. Gilroy appearing at first receiver, trying to dance his way through, but losing the ball as I think it was Afawa came through and fell off his feet to give the penalty to the home side.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. Almost stalled the play there when Gilroy came onto the ball. But it just shows now the technicalities of the game. You do one thing wrong in that breakdown on the floor, that contact area, all the good play before, you know, goes to waste.
Just looking out there, looks like Paddy Jackson is on for Nevin Spence. There is Bortolami, patched up. Indeed, Jackson slotting into that inside centre berth between Ian Humphreys and Darren Cave. Well, the call is Lamborghini, but it's not going to work. It's stalled on that one, and it's Ulster who are coming round. Humphreys again, the width on the pass. Jackson feeding out to Gilroy, no way through there. There's a knock forward there, and it's a man offside as well. Pedro Vandenberg. Remarkable stat about Pedro Vandenberg. Since he made his Ulster debut at the beginning of last season, he's only missed one match since, and that was a game he was rested for against Munster at the beginning of the year. Quite incredible. I know when he was at the Bulls, he was pretty much used as an impact player off the bench, so he feels he's got plenty of miles still on the clock to go.
Yeah, I tell you, there won't be many players like him who can have that longevity. You just hope he stays fit and continues to do so.
Great campaign, Johan. Keep working hard.
He's certainly doing the job for Ulster. Man of the match last time he was with Ulster against Aironi in that 43-6 game I mentioned earlier on. A couple of tries in that for the ex-Bulls. Familiar surroundings in many ways. Used to be at school with Jan Muller at Oakdale Agricultural High School back in South Africa. So along with the likes of Pienaar and of course Robbie Dyack on the bench this afternoon. Some familiar faces for that man, Pedro Vandenberg. Daviche trying to bust the Ulster line. Aguera feeds Pizarro, cutting the line. This is quicker ball for Aironi. Cave and Henry standing firm. And Ulster getting Ulster defence now being stretched a little bit more than they have been previously. Daviche coming off Massey's shoulder. Loose ball as Jackson becomes a major irritant around that ruck. But still, Pizarro able to set it up again. Here come the forwards. Intensity at the contact area beginning to build as we look towards the last 25 minutes of this game. Josh Soul straightening things up for the home side, but losing the ball in the contact, and Humphreys tries to instigate a charge out, but the pass to Darren Cave just not finding its target.
Good play from Aironi. Starting to put some phases together, a bit more structure. You know, they're so persistent in phase play. They really do throw themselves at the gain line. And I think that they continue to do that, start building their framework and the kind of culture of how they want to play. They'll certainly make some strides forward. They've certainly improved from a month ago when Leicester were here. But again, just shows sustained. You have to sustain it. You have to sustain the phase play, the possession, and then you have to spot the opportunity and then really hit it at pace.
No points on the board since half-time. Aironi trying to improve their position. Sanotti cutting the line. Katina comes round. And the crowd now trying to add their vocal strength to this Aironi cause. Again, powerful defence from those Ulster fringe defenders. Just trying to find a tired arm, a tired shoulder. Now it's whizzed out. Okwera sends it out. And I think Aironi have indeed got their first try. And it is that man, Sanotti. So good they named him twice. And Aironi fans are waving their flags and giving him the adulation he deserves.
The crowd go absolutely mental. And that is, what a try. I mean, that's not through lack of effort. That is an absolute brilliant piece of play from Aironi. I mean, you have to give it to them. Their persistence. Fantastic ball there from Okwera out to Sanotti, and he's been a presence all day. He has really got involved, made a couple of mistakes, but when he gets the ball, things happen. Lovely missed pass, and he goes over for the try. And the home support here absolutely loving that, because they threw themselves, and they have thrown themselves into everything they've done since they've started as a franchise.
Ronan Phillips looking on and satisfied that in their 14th match of the season, they've actually got their 13th try. 4 of those were against the Blues. Now, what does that spark in Aironi? How do Ulster react? They've got to wait for this kick from Luciano Okwera. What a good kick from the Aironi fly half. Takes his team into double figures. And suddenly, there's just a feeling that we could have a different final quarter to this game, a different feel to the match.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Aironi really have picked their game up. Their phase play games look more structured than this 20 minutes of the second half. They've kept the ball, and they've put Ulster under pressure.
Bortolami taking his eye off the ball and heading it into Ulster's hands. And a mistake from the Aironi captain, inviting the visitors to get themselves into the opposition 22 and strike. Well, I was about to say strike while the iron's hot, but Stephen Ferris unable to keep his hands on the ball. Down to the man being replaced in that Ulster pack by Tim Barker. Barker wearing 19 this afternoon. Getting his first big hit on Pizarro as he came through. Massey kicks long. Gilroy waiting for it. Kicks it over to that far touchline. No real angle for Andrea Massey, so he throws it infield to Sanotti. Gets it back from the Kiwi. Turnover ball. Gilroy struggling to get it out, and it's intercepted, and it's Quartaroli. Quartaroli bursting away. Roberto Quartaroli is going to get Aironi's second try. And as the hour mark ticks past, we've got a big change of feel to this match.
Quartaroli, fantastic. You thought the travelator was going to hit after 10 metres, but there was a bit of argy-bargy up the middle. But again, opportunistic. Aironi have been persistent. They've hammered the line. I mean, there's no lack of passion here. No lack of passion in Italy at all, is there? And that's one thing that defines the Italian culture, is passion.
It's the Latin temperament, and if they've got their tails up, this final quarter could change. Well, Roberto Cortaroli started last week in Ravenhill, and has that try, that interception, fired up this Italian side.
It has for Ongara there, you see.
Let's just see, as Nas Olivier now off the bench with his first kick from the tee. Doesn't make a sound contact, you could hear that from the effects mic. But it's Aironi with their tails up. Humphries restarts. And this is going to be an intriguing next few phases of play as Pedro Vandenberg is bundled into touch. Ulster so dominant in that first half. Since half-time, certainly in the last 5 minutes, those 2 tries just changing the feel to this match.
So it just shows, I mean, I said after half-time it would be interesting to see how Ulster come out and whether they can execute and make the correct decisions to score 2 tries early on. But it shows that in the game of rugby, if you have the ball, you have possession, and you don't let the opposition get to it, things can happen. I mean, the last try was opportunistic, but the first try was very well engineered by Aironi.
Good tank from Massi. Sonotti really has been a live wire in this game whenever he's been able to get his hands on the ball. As Tibaldi. Intentional knock forward. One hand giving Johan Muller away in the eyes of the officials. And Ulster have beaten Aironi 6 out of 6 times. But the fact that they've already lost at home to Treviso in October means they know what a danger these Italian sides can be. We've already mentioned that Aironi are a very different proposition to Treviso. But as we've said, the Italians now really feel that they're back in this game. Tibaldi up to Romero. Nas Olivier coming around the corner. Papiche held up by Vandenberg. Good defence from the South African 8, but here they come again, led by Bortolami. The skipper back on the park, having been patched up. Biaggi takes his team up to the 22. Cortaroli trying to cut the line to find the soft shoulder, but the support is coming in from the side from Pizarro, and it allows Ulster a chance to catch their breath.
It's almost like a new Aironi side, isn't it, Simon? Their ability in this second half to get over the gain line is something they haven't done. Well, certainly in the first half, and against these teams which are supposedly better than them, they're really starting to take the gain line forward, as we see here. Cortaroli again, taking it up. And I was saying before that they were a bit like a snooker ball against the cushion. They potted a couple already.
OK, we'll end that analogy now, shall we? But you're dead right. I mean, you can see it in the way that their game plan is operating. And here comes more Ulster reinforcements in the shape of Ruby Dyack and Paul Marshall. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be Ian Humphries coming off, which means that Ruben Pienaar will move out to fly half. I think Pedro Vandenberg's the other man going off. So now Dyack to take his place in the back row. And there is Pienaar at fly half. Of course, the place he's played for, both for his club in South Africa and also, of course, for the South African national side. But it's turnover ball. And look at the numbers on this near side. They didn't want a front rower taking up. Demarchi feeds outside to Biaggi. Good handling from the replacement prop, that said. Tabuli and Olivier spreading the ball wide, allowing Massey to straighten things up in midfield. And this really is a very different Aironi side. Well, it's going to stop right there. But suddenly the flow is all with the blue shirts of Aironi.
Yeah, it is. You wanted Sonotti, didn't you, on the wing there to really capitalise on that space, as we see Aironi on the floor. You can see, I tell you, they're a fit team. Now they're really lasting the minutes. The amount of times that they've been running into that gain line in the first half and second half to more effective in the second half shows that they're not only passionate with good attitude, building a team and a way of playing, but they're a fit team as well.
And there's one of them, Favaro, just coming into a collision with Paddy Jackson, I think it was there. Jackson still down on the ground, there he is. Cause for concern now, because the bench, apart from Adam Macklin and Nigel Brady, has been utilised. Let's have a look here, see if we can see it. There's Massey, there's Jackson wearing 22, Favaro coming around on the clear out, and it looked, oh, that is on his left knee. There's the cause for concern for the Ulster medics. And the cause for concern for the Ulster coaching staff is how do they reset their team if that left knee is not going to allow Paddy Jackson to retake his place. To Blanche, of course, already on, Paul Marshall on.
The key thing for Ulster in this last 14 minutes of the game is, I think, quite simple. They need territory. They need some form or piece of possession down in Aironi's half, whether that's a line-out or a scrum. They need to get to 5-6 phases and they will score a try. It's whether they have the game management leadership to identify it and actually put it into practice.
Well, there's sad pictures for Ulster and for Ulster fans as Paddy Jackson is helped off the park. Now, let's just see what's going to work from here. Of course, with Paddy Wallace also out at the moment, there's future problems for Ulster, but right now they've got to think about the next 13.5 minutes. It looks like, well, there is Nigel Brady, so let's see how it's going to work. And without an inside centre at the moment, and it looks like they're moving Stephen Ferris out there, so Brady is going to go into blindside flanker. Well, we're going to see how flexible and how skillful Stephen Ferris is. We've been lauding him through the first 67 minutes of this game. Ferris is going in at 12, outside Ruben Peanut.
It's a natural choice. The one player who could step into that 12 slot is Ferris. Good footballer, pace, understands the game well.
The equation of this game gets more and more intriguing. Of course, to the outcome of Pool 4, the next try could be, well, not just influential on this game, but influential on the outcome of the pool by the time we get to the end of January.
Sorry.
This is when the experienced heads really have to step up now. We've talked about Johan Muller and that man Ruben Peanut have really got to control things and make sure that Ulster are playing in the right sort of places.
Well, their main objective is to get one try. That is it. They have to get one try to get the 5 points, and then they can batten down the hatches and defend well.
Well, Johan Muller, that man wearing 4, was described by Andy Good to the Ulster management as the nearest thing he's seen to Martin Johnson. And that's praise indeed. In this sort of scenario is where that skill set, that mindset, that presence is really going to count for this Ulster side. They know that they want to continue their progression in this tournament. First quarter-final in 12 years last year. They're losing to Northampton. They want to replicate at least that this season and come out of what is a very difficult group. So these next 10 minutes or so could be pivotal to the rest of Ulster's European campaign. Marshall, try score last week.
6 away!
Forwards congregating, ready to provide the attacking pod for their replacement scrum half. Quicker ball, good hands, and it's fed out, and there is that valuable try. It's come from Craig Gilroy, and you can see the elation in those Ulster faces.
That isn't fair, that's 2 blocks in the same sequence.
Not only nailing that bonus point, but also nailing this Aironi side, a resurgent Aironi side in the last half an hour, and the Ulster Santas are singing again.
They certainly are. Look a bit chilly, but this is good play. Excellent play by Ulster. Lovely hands. Teblanche fixed the man beautifully.
Sorry?
And then in the end, it was an easy dive in for Gilroy. But, you know, it's all they needed. Piece of possession in Aironi's 22. Simple, effective, good lines of running, and a try for Gilroy.
Well, Gilroy repeats his try-scoring feat against Aironi from that game in the Celtic League earlier in the season. Also got a try against Connacht this season, so doing the job. The left winger now, can Ruan Pienaar do his job as fill-in fly half. First time he's kicked all season, had a hamstring problem that's really not allowed him to get kicking off the tee since returning from the World Cup. But that is a sweet strike from the South African, and just what Ulster and their fans wanted.
Yeah, excellent kick from Pienaar. But I think going back to the try, it was Marshall, the replacement scrum half, who really, they had a penalty, kept the ball up, kept the pace on the game, and allowed Ulster to really take charge and get the try. So a good piece of leadership there.
First knock on. First knock on, and then it was accidental offside, so scrum.
Just over 8 minutes left as we see that triumphant Gilroy dive. I tell you what, I bet Andrew Trimble's glad to see that go over. Trimble it was who, after just 3 minutes, contrived to throw a try away. He did get back and get the first score moments later, but 4 tries was always the order of the day. Now that job is achieved. Not only does he get the bonus point, but it also just nullifies this Aironi performance a bit.
Yeah, it does. At the end of the game, we will see the result, we'll see the points. It will go on the table, in the bag, as they say. But the measure of the game's been a really interesting one. You say Ulster comprehensively dominating in the first half with their pack, and then Aironi, literally second half, came back, throwing men at the line, scored a great try, and then an opportunistic, and just showed that, you know, they're going to put an impression on this competition in years to come, you'd say.
And just thinking about the bigger picture, the Herons of North Italy, as Aironi is, it's very important for their progression playing here to show what they can do on the top stage in European competition, and hopefully be able to build the game, build their fan base in this Lombardy region more than they have done previously.
Yeah, that's exactly it, and all they can do is show spirit and commitment to the fact that they're learning, they're a new team, new franchise, new culture, all that good stuff. But it's like anything, isn't it? If you show you're up for it and you bring everything, then the support will come.
Well, that's certainly what they're hoping.
Okay, closer.
Lombardy region, one of the richest, not just in Italy, but in Europe. So the more interest that comes from the fans, hopefully the more sponsorship and funding appears as well. And the bigger that Aironi can become.
Touch. Pause.
From an Ulster perspective, well, it's pretty much job done in terms of what they needed to get from this game. Maybe the performance has not been everything that they wanted in the 20 minutes after half-time, and in a way replicates Leicester's performance from round one of this season. But they've superseded Leicester by getting that try-scoring bonus point. And in the pool 4 equation of this campaign, that could be critical. A huge rainbow pass, tries to get Wonder going on that far side. Now it's set back. Aironi trying to finish on a high. Almost an interception. Demarchi does well to pick it up. He's got good handling skills, the replacement prop. Sinotti showing great power. Pulled back by his shirt, but here come Aironi again. The ball's over.
Brilliant.
And there's a third try, and it's come from George Biaggi. He calls himself a Scottish Italian, went to school at Fetters College in Edinburgh, but really enjoying his moment as an Aironi replacement this afternoon.
The Scottish Italian.
There's not many of them.
Absolutely fantastic again. Sinotti had something to do in there. You can see him here. Look at this, twist, turn, takes the gain line on. Lovely step. Just using all that sweet potato, and then what lovely offload again. The difference between good teams and great teams is the ability to get through the tackle and just offload to your mate who's running a good line. And good play again, just shows that Aironi still want to play. 5 minutes left, 4 minutes now, but they're still up for it.
Well, Biaggi, having scored away at Edinburgh, now scoring at home to Ulster, and now watching as Nas Olivier, the former Cheetah fly half, looks to add the extras. Off target twice off the tee. Roland Phillips watches on, and he must be a proud man to see his team running 3 tries against this Ulster defence. It's no mean feat. And I mentioned how poor the Aironi attack has been this season. Well, maybe they've turned a new leaf. Maybe that man, Mara Bergamasco, can move into a team next week who believe that they can attack and believe that they can do something. There's Adam Macklin onto the park now for the last 3 and a bit minutes. Bortolami takes safely and securely this time.
Push back, push back.
Olivier setting the target for his forwards. Pizarro looks inside, but it's intercepted, and it's Robbie Dyack who's going to cruise over for Ulster's 5th try. Well, anything that Aironi can do, Ulster can do better. It was Calderoli who intercepted for Aironi's 2nd try. Now it's that man, Robbie Dyack, the former Stormer back rower, with the anticipation and the handling skills to make sure that Ulster it was who are going to finish with the feel-good factor.
Yeah, Aironi playing on the gain line. An inside pass. This is good play, really. Aironi just, as they've done in this 2nd half, just literally on the gain line. And Dyack just coming through.
Okay.
Scoring a good try. Anticipated it well, spotted it, and then had the pace to go through.
Since signing for the Stormers 3 years ago, Robbie Dyack now qualified for Ireland under residency. A real dynamic back rower. Ruan Pienaar already got one from the tee. This to take his Ulster side past the 40-point mark. And it's job done. once again, Ulster play in Italy and get more than 40 points past this Aironi side.
1.5 minutes. Come here.
And John Afoa getting the plaudits from our host broadcaster as the man of the match.
I know.
There's one of a few that
Do that.
really could have taken that.
Just on the 15. On the 15. 5 in the air.
As this match moves into the final minute. It's been a great story in many ways, so many ups and downs for those fans to enjoy, to wonder about. There's been different chapters of it, and credit to Aironi for coming back from a first half in which they were really outplayed 27-3. They were looking at half-time. Come back with those 2 tries. Ulster then recovered their pose and their poise to nail the bonus point. And we've had another try for each side just to finish things off.
Scala! Oh, come on!
Marshall looking at that far side. Paddy McAllister found many ways through, and it's going to be a quick line out for Aironi. Of course, in their minds, they're thinking we could get a bonus point try here. That's why they're keeping the game moving as quickly as they can. The clock ticks past 80 minutes. And Aironi still trying to run their way out of the 22. The Marquis, he's a very mobile prop. We've seen that since he's come off the bench. Pizarro being hemmed in by those Ulster defenders, working hard now just to finish this game off, forcing the kick from Massey to Blanche. Almost screws himself into the ground in taking that one, but does well. Darcy again looking for the scissors, but the execution not quite there. This makeshift Ulster backline. Jackson's unfortunate injury keeping things moving. Henry, good hands from the back rower. There is Stephen Ferris, formerly of the forwards, now of the backs. Have to change that on his passport. Robbie Dyack. And the Aironi players being helped off on the far side as we go through the last throws of this game. Macklin, he'd be glad to be on the park longer than a minute. Last time he came on for against the Scarlets, within a minute he'd seen yellow and was sitting back on the bench. A little kick through. Massey has no problems anticipating it and eager to run his way out of the 22. Well, all those players are out running on extra in terms of oxygen levels. Ball thrown inside to DeMarchi. Brady gets his hands on the ball. This is great handling from both sides. It's like Sevens rugby in the final minutes. Final, well, where are we? 82nd minute of this game. And Ulster now looking to finish off with a sweep. Dyack can't get his pass away, but the ball's still there. And it's going to be a crowning glory for that man, Adam Macklin. Well, just as I highlighted the fact that he stayed on the park, he'll be more than happy now. He began as a number 8 and finishing off in great style on the wing. Adam Macklin, take a bow.
Yeah, good play from Ulster and Aironi. They're both trying to play in the last couple of minutes of the game and keeping the ball alive, but Ulster just had the dominance in this game overall, and I think that try just epitomised the fact that they were too strong.
Well, players desperately trying to get oxygen on board after phase of play from both sides. really working so hard right at the end of this game. Ruan Pienaar is going to get the responsibility for the last kick of the match. I wouldn't say it's been an emphatic performance from Ulster, but in terms of what they've achieved, it's everything that they could have wanted from this game.
Yeah, I think so. I think, Wardy, like you said, a good book, many chapters in it, and I think this game has shown that. I think the physicality Ulster have come through. You know, the first half, their pack was very dominant, but in the 25 minutes of the second half, Aironi really got their game together, but then Ulster came back and they achieved their objective.
Well, the objective not quite achieved from the team, but it really doesn't matter. Ulster scored 3 tries in that first half to put them in control of the scoreboard. Back came Aironi, they've got another 3. Ulster have replicated their first half performance to make it 6 tries to 3. The Ulstermen winning. They've got the max, they've got that vital bonus point to make sure that they are in contention in Pool 4. And the final scoreline would send the Ulstermen home happy, because it's finished Aironi 20, Ulster 46.